G'day guys, Chaos Chronicles. Alright, so I'm going to do a video because in the last video I done on from being arrested until actually getting to prison and then the whole process in between. But what I spoke about in there, I spoke about how important it was to give a no comment interview. Now I'm just going to tell everybody how important that is. Oh, excuse me. How important that is to give a no comment interview and the consequences it can have on you for not giving a no comment interview. So first we'll talk about your consequences with the police if you don't give a no comment interview, and then we'll talk about what can actually happen in prison if you don't give a no comment interview, and even in society if you are being a criminal. All right, so cops will say, I know that they're allowed to use certain mistruths and whatnot in order to get a confession out of you, and in saying that they're not allowed to use certain methods and certain tactics. Like, we don't have entrapment here in Australia, so there's no such thing as entrapment. Entrapment is where they deliberately do something, so they deliberately do something to make you break the law so that they can charge you, and they're not allowed to do that here. But you giving a commented interview, so when they say anything that you say will be used in court, I can promise you that every single second of what you say will be used in court. And especially if you are the more serious your crime is, the more whatever you say will be used in court. And I promise you that too. So like let's say, for instance, if they ask you questions and you don't tell them answers to the questions they want to know, and then you tell them answers to other questions, what they then do is not only is it kind of makes you look suspect, and they're going to keep on poking and poking, but not only that, so it's really hard to explain. So, all right, let's put it this way. If everything that you say, they are going to use it against you, and they are going to use it and twist it. And therefore, when they say things, they are deliberately going to say things differently so you correct them. So they say things that they deliberately know they're going to get certain answers for, and you answering those questions will get you into trouble, whereas it's hard for me to say exactly how, but they will use those answers that you give them, and they will keep using those answers to create more nonsense to use. Now, most police do this stuff. Like, I'll say, out of all times I've been interviewed, 99% of police will use bullshit tactics to get you to confess. They'll say things like you're about to lose your children, all this stuff. If you do not talk to them, the interview will be concluded in a matter of minutes. So they will ask you no more than 10 questions. If you keep answering, I'm telling you, it is a dead set, the lowest of low dogs of screws that will ask you questions right to the end if they know that you're going to say no comment. Usually it's no more than 10 questions, and then they will say, are you going to continue to say no comment throughout this interview? And you say yes, and then it will be over. Now, your lawyer also is going to tell you to say no comment as well, because they don't want them to stuff you up. They don't want you to say things to trap you into saying things that they know. Trust me, these guys are professionals. They do it all day, every day, and they know exactly how to say things to get you to say certain things, not only to get you in trouble, but to make you angry, to throw you off, and there's all certain methods that they use, like they will leave you in the holding cell for ages, and then they won't let you go to the toilet, and then they'll ask you if you want water. This is just feeding right into them. And, they will ask you if you want food. Do you want this? Do you want that? And these are all tactics to make you feel more comfortable with that cop. And and trust me, I'm not saying this from a criminal standpoint of view here. Like, you guys really need to know that I'm saying this from so many times I have been in jail, and I've been in jail talking to other dudes that have told me that they're literally in prison for something that they didn't do. They've been worded up, or they've been written up by the cops. And, sometimes people don't even have their day in court, and they will just do the jail time. And trust me, it is your best interest to say no comment. No matter what the cops say, they will try and tell you, if you say no comment, it makes you look guilty. Well, so be it. If me doing exactly what the law says, you have the right to remain silent, right? So, and not only that, your lawyer wants you to do that because they don't want you to be stuffed up by them also. But not only that, so these can have dire consequences if you talk on tape. So I know in the later years that I was in jail, like, it was kind of dying off a bit, but it was still there. And I know that there are crews, and there are certain clubs and gangs and stuff like that. They have these rules here where you are not allowed to talk on tape. So it is a law by, gangs and clubs and most criminal fraternities, whatever they are, that you are not allowed to talk on tape. And if you do talk on tape, like I said, I've told you about being paperwork checked in prison, and I've told you that it will happen. Like, especially if you are not a known person in that prison, or the prison community is small. Do you know what I mean? So, it's very small, and it's hard not to know people. Like, Dave, that does the Fallon Show podcast, it was actually one of my closest mates in jail. And so, and it's a very, very small community. And yeah, it's like, I'm telling you now, you giving a commented interview can have, it's as good as, like, some people see that as snitching. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen so many people fall victim to it, and I just say, mate, it would have been so much easier just to say no comment. Do you know? And believe me, there are some people in prison that if you talk on tape, and whether you are lagging people or not, it is literally seen as a form of lagging, talking on tape. Now, I can't tell you how that whole concept came about. I just can't possibly do that. I don't know where it came about, but I am promising you right now, I am telling you right now that, but I promise you that there will be people. And the thing is, right, so there is a lot of young people in maximum security jail that just want to make a name for themselves. And if you're seen breaking any of them rules, believe me, they're going to reinforce that, and they're going to touch you up, stab you up, whatever, for breaking jail rules. And believe me, they are sitting on the sideline waiting for their reputation. It's like they think they're playing Grand Theft Auto, and every person they ding up, their reputation's going to go up, and it's not like that. Although it kind of is, but like, if you deliberately set out to hurt people only to make a reputation for yourself, you are going to get hurt yourself. And I promise you, it doesn't take very long for people to start going, hang on a minute, this dude's only hurting weaker people than him to make a name for himself, Mate, it's the biggest, jail really is, in some ways, a dictatorship. And it's kind of it's like communist dictatorship in a way too, where the rules are like dire, that will cost you your life. A simple mistake of calling the wrong prisoner champ will cost you your life. And there is no two ways about it. If you call the wrong prisoner the wrong thing, you calling someone champ, though, is just crazy. Like, it just blows my mind. And, like, I know they don't have it in the other states. And as I just seen a comment in one of my videos that they don't have use the word goose in Tasmania. And I know all the other states don't use the word champ. But champ's a very common thing. So if someone thinks that someone's tough, a very common thing is someone to call them champ, like heavyweight champ of the world, like Mike Tyson. It's a very common thing for people to use. And mate, oh my God, I've seen people hurt for it. But yeah, just know that it is 100% in your best interest as a criminal in a whole to say no comment. If you don't want to be tricked into something that didn't happen, just say no comment. Some people don't even do that. Some people just remain silent, like it actually tells you to do. But believe me, there are cops that are absolute professionals at this, and they will tell you whatever you want to hear whatever they want to hear. And believe me, they do it. And as time goes on, and everyone's got a phone in their hand these days which can record people. Corruption in the police force and in these government officials is more. A lot of people are seeing that it's not just people whinging about cops being too hard-handed or heavy-handed or whatever. It's actually a thing, and it's serious. And so yeah, you just need to know. And like I always say, if you don't want to deal with this bullshit, do not commit crime. Because like I say also, if you are a person who's committing crime for a certain amount of time and you aren't getting in trouble off the police or you aren't going to prison, believe me, there are people that are going to be pointing their fingers at you saying, he's a snitch. He is a paid police informant. How can you sell that much drugs and never get your house raided, never go to jail? Every time your house does get raided, you never go to jail. Do you know what I mean? It's a horrible, horrible world. And like I always say, I am not a preacher. I'm absolutely not a preacher. But I am 100% honest and real what I say with my words. And if you don't want to deal with none of this bullshit, go and get a job. Like I said, go get an apprenticeship. If you are a mature age person like myself, I promise you right now, you are more valuable as an apprentice than a person that is 18 years old, that has just got their car license, that is doing burnouts everywhere, that is going out and getting on the piss every weekend, coming in hungover. Trust me, you are going to be seen as a better person. And like I say, it is a shit world. Everyone's going to believe you that gangs and bike clubs and that are better. I can tell you right now that they are not. And if you hear anyone like myself who's been to prison, been in gangs, been in bike clubs and has made it to my age, well, I guess you could say kind of OG status, really, then they will tell you that it's not even worth it. Who wants to be called an OG? Do you know what I mean? Even though, people are proud that they made it that far and made it out. Like, it is just a fake world. Do you know what I mean? And trust me, it is not worth it, guys. But anyway, preacher time over. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You have been absolutely awesome. That has been, do not give comments in police interviews, no matter what the interview is about. Trust me, it will only turn around and bite you in the bum. By the cops or by the crooks, I promise you. And if you haven't shot me a subscribe, jump up there and shoot me a subscribe and smash that bell. That way you'll never miss any of my videos. Chuck a comment down there. I will answer that comment. Sometimes it takes me a day to get to it, but I will get to that comment. All right, guys, much love, much respect. Let's go.